All right, welcome to another episode here on Norco Invest. Today we're going to be talking about our stocks to watch for, after Q1 2025. Now, I did do a stocks to watch for the entire year at the start of the year. And so this episode is going to do two things. It's going to do an update to the one that I shared previously, and then also going to just kind of talk about some stocks that have popped up on my radar since I did that first stocks to watch at the start of the year. And so that's how we're gonna do this episode. Now I did invite a particular CEO that I did not receive confirmation on him joining me. So unfortunately we won't be able to have him join us for this episode. But we still have a lot to talk about. A lot's been happening on the market. And so before I jump into that though, we do have something that I wanted to share here before I get into the episode. So let me just do that first. And of course, some of you may know it has to do with our conference because it's literally 2 weeks away and we have a special going on right now. So if you're watching this video right now, you still have a chance to take advantage of this offer. The first 15 tickets that are sold for general admission will be automatically upgraded to VIP, but that offer ends in like 3 hours, right? So if you're watching this video tomorrow, that may be too late, but you still have a chance to purchase your regular tickets and then have them upgraded to VIP. And with VIP, you get access to both days of the conference. We have a special VIP breakfast. You get an autographed copy of the book by our keynote speakers. That's cashing out, and you get some other perks. I can't give away them all now. But one perk that I'll share here is that we're actually forming our own entrepreneurship community. So we do have our LGI community that is focused on investment, but we're going to have an entrepreneurship community that's focused on business. So all the things that you'd want to hear about or talk about as it relates to business and entrepreneurship, those who sign up for the conference will get first access to that community. And so just wanted to share that with you while the offer is still available. And of course, check out the conference website. And I really do hope to see you there. We do have limited tickets, but there's still quite a bit available. I know some persons like to purchase with like 2 weeks to go. We're at that point now, 2 weeks to go. And so be sure to get your tickets as soon as you can. All right. All right, cool. So I see your comments here, right? Levine is here saying breadback crew present. Now, I must say, and we're gonna start the show with the basis of allotment for Trans Jamaica. I'm gonna tell you how I feel about it in a little bit, right? Because there are some implications of the basis of allotment, right? But I'll get into that later. Kirk says back to back putting my popcorn on the microwave. Nicholas, I think this is the first time I'm seeing you live. I've never seen you live actually. I always see you on Taking Stock in the comments, but yeah. And Humble Boss says these late night lives are great. So it's only because I'm a parent now. My son literally just went to bed. Well, I hope he's sleeping right now. I left him with his mom, and I also have a job. I think most of you know that I work for Sagicor in their data and analytics department. And so having the job, having the community, having to do content, having to do parenting duties, it's an interesting phase in my life. So yeah. So Cheesy Gully side said starting to like NCB for that sweet dividends. No, here's the thing. Well, we'll see. Jackie says, good evening, Jeremy and everyone. This is my first time on your live. However, I've been watching your videos. You're doing a marvelous job. I love your content. I also subscribe. Thank you so much. Hope you're in the community as well. Jackie, would love to see you there. A diplomat said number 11 stockholder. For which company? Which company? And is Atlantic on the watch list? Not yet. Not yet. When they do list, if the price goes, I'd say below 75 cents, 80 cents, then they may move. They may get a bump up to my watch list. So we'll see. All right. So let's dig into the basis of allotment for Trans Jamaica. Let's start there. So it says here, reference made to the prospectus dated on February 24th by NROC. The offer for sale closed at 4:30 p.m. on March 18th and was oversubscribed by more than 36% of the upsized offer. The details and basis of allotment for the sale of shares in the offer is as follows. The strategic investors pool got 100% of the amount they applied for. I wish I was in that pool, but alas. And then the general public, this pool was oversubscribed and all applicants will be allotted the first 2.7 million shares and approximately 33.065% of the excess, right? And let me tell you what this means. You know, I love to use calculator here. So if you applied for anything more than 2.7 million shares, and I say some persons, you know, wondering about my application, let's just say that I'm looking to see what happens, right? Yeah, so that's the first thing I was going to do, right? 278 multiplied by 3.6 means 10 million actually, right? So if you didn't spend more than 10 million, you got all of your shares. 10 million or more, you got the first 2.7 million shares and then the excess. So for example, and this is some of the things that I heard persons were applying for 30 million shares, 50 million shares or more, and this is what it's showing you that was actually the case. So if you applied for 20 million, you get the first 2.7 and then 33% of the balance, right? So if you applied for 20 million, for example, then you'd get about, that looks to be, let me just add this to the 27. You'd get 6 million shares if you applied with 20 million, right? Hopefully that makes sense, right? So it says refunds to applicants whose applications were not met in full will be refunded as noted in the prospectus. All applicants will receive a formal letter from the JCB advising them of their respective allotment of shares in due course. The intent is to have the JCSD accounts credited with the allotment of shares in each successful applicant's JCSD account on or before March 31st, 2025. And they wish to thank all applicants, so on and so forth. Now, what I am happy about is that I did get my full allotment, and I also applied with multiple accounts, right? I wasn't sure how the allocations were going to go, and so I thought that was necessary for me. But of course, it's showing you here that wasn't necessary. But I'll open this basis of not basis of allotment, the dividend declaration here for those who are concerned. So it says here that there's an interim dividend coming up. An interim means that there's going to be more than one. So for those of you saying that they're not going to pay a second dividend, interim means it's not the final dividend, right? So that's one thing to note here. The payment will be made on April 24th to shareholders on April 3rd, right? So if this year says that you'll get your shares by March 31st, it means then that you should have it in your account for this date, and you'll be able to benefit from the upcoming dividend. All right. So hope that covers everybody in terms of the Trans Jamaica, and this is the last time I'm going to talk about it for this live because TJH is actually, it was on my watch list, but it's no longer on my watch list, and I'll tell you why a little bit soon. So let me recap the stocks to watch that I had before, right? But before I get into it, I want to ask you, right, what are the stocks that you are watching now? And I want you guys to think further than Trans Jamaica, right? Because there is an implication to how many shares were allotted. And so I would imagine that everybody has, as most people or most of you watching here probably would have gotten your full allocation, which means you might be happy or you may be desiring more. Either way, it should be interesting to see how the stock trades over the next few weeks, going up to the dividend, of course. And then I think though most persons will have what they're looking for in terms of Trans Jamaica shares, which means we have to start looking at other stocks, right? It's important to have multiple options, and now with the availability of Trans Jamaica shares, you're gonna have persons who are now looking for other opportunities. So that's the thing that I wanted to say. So tell me what's on your watch list and why, right? So I'm also interested in understanding why. Okay. All right. So let's see what some of you are saying. So Kimar is saying Epley. I've actually never taken a serious look at Epley. So I'll check them out. MB says Wigton. Andre says Wigton. Kurt says Indies and Honeybun. I haven't looked at Honeybun in a while. Christine says Indies Pharma. Anyone else? There's 104 persons here, right? Tell me what your stocks to watch is, and I'll call out a few of them. Sean says my stocks to watch are Indies, Wisynco, RPL, Tropical, and Scotia. I'm still waiting, read Tropical, to see how much they're going to be raising for the APO, what the price of the shares are going to be. Because though they've grown significantly, I'm also looking to see how many shares will be added to the shares outstanding. That's a very, very critical piece of information for me. So once I see that, I'll determine. So Jeffrey says Dolphin Cove, NCB, growth and dividend. Omar says, I think Tropical crashed the other day. Well, I checked it out today. I think they're pretty much recovered. Fontana, Indies with Cinco. Harold says Lumbo. Hossein says watching NCB and I'm thinking it's at an all-time low. No, it can't be at an all-time low. Maybe all-time low in the last 5 years, but remember, all stocks would have started at a certain point and built up. I don't remember what the initial price was for NCB. I should probably check that out. Spiritry and Massey, RPL, Indies, Lasti, NCB, and says Wisynco can't pop stock price wise and then full of cash. So here's the thing. I had Wisynco in my portfolio for a long time, and then I realized it literally was not moving. And so it's been maybe 2 years or so since I've had it in my portfolio, but it's in Renee's portfolio, right? So Renee is a Wisynco shareholder, and my son has, what's in his portfolio? I think he has Tropical in his portfolio, and I can't remember what else right now. Indies because of the drug approval, Tropical because of the debt payoff from the APO, Scotia because their fundamentals are strong, and Wisynco because of their expansions. Cool. NCB if they can reach a $39 range, and Jamaica Broilers. Warrell says 1GS, BIL, Tropical, Fontana, NCBG. And Levine says Tropical. Sean says I'll take 2 more. Sean says I'm watching 1GS but not sure if this is the year for them, waiting on their report. Okay, I see what you're saying. Gavin says GK, Blue Power, NCB. So a lot of you are saying NCB. So let's see. All right, so this is what I'm gonna do. So I'm going to do my current stocks to watch first, and then I'll give you all the updates on my previous stocks to watch. Let me know if that works for you. So let me do it this way, right? So a couple of things have happened for this year. Now I did I started the year by saying I thought that this year would have been a great year for investing, for the stock market, etc. I do still believe that, and we're gonna see more and more offers coming out for sure. But I'm also seeing that there is still a lot of big offers coming out by companies. So Barita has their bond out now. Mayberry did one recently. VM did theirs a couple of months ago. That's now closing, and so that part for me is I'm waiting to see what happens there. Now, I do believe that capital being taken up by a lot of these larger institutions of the billions of dollars may mean that some persons may opt for a more conservative outlook for the year. Not that that's a bad thing. I'm just wondering where's the push for investing in stocks directly, right? Because they of course the allure for bonds is that they're safer. You get a set interest rate. So if you have a certain amount of capital and you put it on stocks, you're not guaranteed a return. If you put it on a bond or a preference share, you're getting that 8% or 9% or 10% every year. And for some people, that's okay, right? But I'm looking at the shifting that's happening. So the first thing that I'll say before I get into the stocks to watch is I'm looking at capital preservation for this year, because there are going to be multiple opportunities for you to look out for, which means that you have to look at the cost of so many different opportunities, right? I hope you all are seeing that, where if we do have these many offers, then a lot of things are going to be coming up to take our liquidity from us. And when it takes our liquidity from us and more offers come out, then investors are either going to be stretched in terms of their resources, or they're going to be uninterested in other offers, right? And let me tell you what I mean here. So if there should be an offer that comes out next week, let's say it's one of them that we're all waiting for, like West Indies Petroleum. If it comes out next week, I'm not sure how much capital would be going after it because of how much went after Trans Jamaica. Now there's 3 billion excess from the Trans Jamaica offer. But then of course Barita is now raising some money. So I'm assuming some of the money will go there. And what if West Indies Petroleum comes out to raise 5 billion or 10 billion? So that's the kind of thing that I'm saying, where with multiple opportunities now coming out in the market, I'm not sure for the later part of the year how some of those offers will do, because look at it this way. When Tropical does their offer, there's some other offers coming out that I can't say no. But when those offers come out, I'm expecting at least one or two more bond offers. So if so much capital is going after the bigger ones, I don't know what it will mean for the smaller ones, right? Of course, I think it does present an opportunity if it is that a new offer comes out. Let's say a large offer comes out and persons don't want to move on from their existing positions into that new offer. But then what does that mean for their actual profit, right? So that's the part that I'm thinking about, because if an offer comes out for on the market next week, and then you're now looking to say, well, you are in profit from your Trans Jamaica order because it was 3.6, it's still above $4. You may settle for a 10%, 20% and then move. But then that means the price is going to go down for that offer. So those who stay past the point of that new offer coming out, they're going to experience some short-term loss. And so there's this idea that we may not have enough liquidity as investors. That's one of the things I'm looking out for this year, to take advantage of all the opportunities. Now, I think it will bode well for dividend investors, in the sense that dividend investors, you're going to be getting back cash. So for example, I'm going to be getting my biggest dividend payout this year because of the Trans Jamaica offer. and my average price now I think is maybe about $3, right? Based on the amount that I ordered and my average price before. My average price before I applied for the offer was $270. I would essentially have doubled my shares. Now I've actually more than doubled my shares, and so my average price is going to be somewhere between 270 and 360. So I'm thinking maybe 310, maybe my average price. I haven't checked it yet, but I'm going to be getting cash now 2 times per year to be able to add to my portfolio, or increase my position in Trans Jamaica if it is that I think the price is right at that time. But if you're not investing for dividends, you may not have the same liquidity, right? Hopefully all of this makes sense. So you have to watch for that. So when I say stocks to watch, I'm thinking about that context in terms of my outlook for the year. Now, interest rates being on hold was interesting to see. I was kind of hoping that the last time they would have done a decrease, but it's still okay, meaning let's say they hold for the rest of the year, then we are seeing that you still have offers coming out at bond offers coming out at 8%, 10%. But as rates continue to go down, those bond offer rates will go down, and then that's when I believe that you'll see greater movement in terms of stocks, right? So depending on what they do with interest rates, you may or may not see more interest in equities. But for now, it's still appealing for a lot of people to invest in bonds or things that provide fixed income, right? Hopefully what I'm saying making sense. I didn't make any notes, but I'm just sharing before I get into the stocks to watch what my outlook is for the year. Now, I do think that this year will present some great opportunities. I did have some good trading opportunities in the first quarter. There have been a lot of interesting movements, some of which I've shared here, some of which I've shared in the challenge community, some of which I've shared with my coaching clients directly. So for those clients who I coach, what I do for them is when I see something that looks like an opportunity on the market, depending on what we talk about individually, I'll share it with them first. And so some of my coaching clients, you're probably watching this, we'll have conversations about different companies, different opportunities that we are seeing, and all within the context, of course, of what they're trying to accomplish for their respective portfolios. And I just think that we are going to see at least 1 or 2 more major offers. I saw somebody mention the Jamaica Mortgage Bank one. So that's Andre. So yes, I do have knowledge of it. I was going to do a video on it, but I didn't have the time with everything else that was happening. So I may do it after. I may do it as the next video. I'm not sure yet. All right. So hopefully that gives you some context as to why I'm going to be investing the way that I'm investing. So let me start with the first one here, my first stock to watch. Hold on, let me see here. All right. All right, if you guys have any questions, just let me know, post it in the chat, and I'll get to it as soon as I can. All right, I'm just trying to bring it up here. All right, so the very first one on my watch list is, well, we'll see. Okay, so the very first one on my watch list is Sagicor Select Funds. So this is actually both of them now. So both the Select Funds in terms of Select F and Select MD. Now I will preface this to say that I'm not sure. So I did a video on it with David Rose. and we said that the process may take some time, right? But at the very least now, I think, one, the manufacturing sector, I think, has been doing really well. So for Select MD, let me find that one. So I do think that Select MD is actually going to be presenting a great opportunity. And I think Atlantic is going to be added to this one, right? Select MD, because they are their distribution. So they should be added to this. And I do think Select MD, though it's still trading below IPO price, by the way, because I think both of them came up to $1, they are going to be converting the shares to a unit trust. Now, the benefit of that is you're able to realize the value in the shares, right? So right now, both Select F and Select MD are trading below their NAV, and it pretty much means that it's trading below what's considered its fair value, right? Now, of course, the issue that is presented with the Select funds is how it's made up, right? It's distribution of shares, and I'll show that in a second for those who are not familiar with it. But they're both weighted a certain way, right? But the point is, for those who are shareholders now, and we would have seen some opportunities to purchase shares as low as 53 cents for Select MD in the past year. And I think the NAV for this one now, I need to find out what the NAV is. Do they still publish the NAV every day? Yes, this is February 21st. I thought the NAV was updated a lot more often, but the NAV for Select MD here is $1.20, right? So that's at least a 40% increase. So that potential that you have to own Sagicor Select Fund shares and then have that upside once it's converted, I think is a great opportunity. So that's a 50% upside. If you can wait at least a year, I think that's an awesome opportunity. So 50% in a year, I think it's worth having it be a stock to watch. Same for, let me check the one for Select F as well. It says 57 cents. I think this one is 46 cents. So that's not the same upside, which is why I think for me personally, the MD is more attractive, because we know the financial sector is not doing as well, right? So Select F, that's why the price is lower, right? So how it should work is that if you have, let's say you have 100,000 shares in Select MD, I'm assuming it's going to be a one-to-one conversion, but we don't know. I mean, investors would be very unhappy if it's not. But if you have 100,000 Select MD shares, you should have, for example, 100,000 units in that unit trust or fund, and then now it will have a fair value of $1.26 in this example. So you would have that 50% upside in value that you can realize by selling your shares at that point, right? The only issue with them now is the waiting game, right? You don't know how long that's gonna take. They had a notice recently which said that they applied to the Supreme Court. It's good to see this moving forward, of course. So they've announced its application to the Supreme Court to summon a meeting of the shareholders to vote on a proposed conversion of the Select F to a unit trust. Well, it says here only for Select MD, but I'm assuming it's both, right? So let me read this press release here. I don't know if it says anything about the proposed conversion. Let me just do a quick check here, because I'm assuming it's a one-to-one conversion, right? So let me read this through quickly. Filing of to pursue unit trust covering simultaneously with the court, they'll prepare to register 2 unit trusts. If the court approves the application to convene a meeting of shareholders, they're going to call all the shareholders together and then vote in favor of the resolution to convert the funds to unit trust. So what I do think is, for example, if this meeting is confirmed and they have the meeting and shareholders vote, you're going to see a positive turn in the stock price because of it, right? So this 86 cents that is trading at right now, I'm expecting that you may see some upside for it if this meeting is confirmed and shareholders say yes, they're gonna go ahead with it. I'm assuming the conversion will be 1-to-1, but I'm not sure how that will work. But okay, right? So that's saying what we already know there. All right. So what I will do for the purposes of just understanding how the select funds work, I'll look at just MD, because as I said, for me personally, I'm more interested in MD. It's more appealing, but really I'm watching what happens with one will happen to the other, and so it's natural to maybe look at them both. But I'm really interested in MD. I'm not interested in the manufacturing side for now. So I'm just going to show you the makeup of the funds. So the top 10 performance in terms of manufacturing companies here. You're seeing Paramount, Tropical, eFresh, RPL, Indies, Jedcon, Fesco, Lasem, Purity, and Blue Power. So the better these companies do, the better the fund should do in terms of its value. It shared their outlook, of course. What I'm going to is the makeup here. This is the part that we want to see. So the portfolio weighting is important. And then it's showing you the index weighting. So it's mainly in Wisynco, and then GK, then Carreras, then Carib Cement. Now I don't typically cover Carreras, but what I will say is that they've been having a good performing year in terms of price, and they are paying, I think, a significant dividend as well, which would bode well for Select MD here. Carib Cement, I'm actually expecting to have a good year as well. GK is still making their moves as usual, so it's not bad to be weighted for the, let's say this is 50% of Select MD is in these 4 stocks. These aren't bad options, and then the rest here is what you see. Now, what I would love to see is there are some companies that I would love to see a bigger weighting for. It's like, for example, Blue Power only being 0.04%. I don't think is good for it, because look at the growth here, 11% growth, where you only have 0.04% of it. If Tropical has a good year, it's only 0.24%. If even Indies has a good year, it's 0.83%, and you see it's grown 17% here. So the weighting sometimes can be a downside, because you notice the top 4 isn't growing much, right? So that's the thing where they are trying to cover the index, but just imagine that some things are going to drag down the price, right? So just bear that in mind. But overall, it should do well in terms of the performance of it and the value of it. What I'm not sure about is how it will manage itself moving forward when it converts to a unit trust, right? So let's just briefly look at the performance year to date. Now it's certainly doing better than 2023. We say 200. I'm assuming that this is in thousands. Yeah, 233 million in terms of changes in fair value. So that's great compared to last year. Dividend income is 98 million. So that dividend should go to shareholders. Interest income is 11. So 342 million as opposed to negative 47 million, right? So that's great year-over-year growth. And of course, down to the bottom line, 319 million versus negative 67 million. And so, of course, the EPS grew significantly, right? And as I said, that's why this is on the watch list for me first, because I think it's a great opportunity. If you have a year, you do have the potential for a 50% upside if they do the conversion 1-to-1. So, I mean, to me, it's an obvious pick in terms of stock to watch. So that's the first one. Let me know your thoughts on it. I'll check for comments here to see. Okay. So NB Lee is asking to explain the NAV and significance of net asset value. So you understand that stocks are valued in terms of funds now, they're valued by what's called a net asset value. So you look at, essentially you calculate the value of that fund, and so it's fair value, what you do, what it would be. Well, I was trying to explain fair value, but it's like it said, fair value. So with it trading so low compared to its fair value, it presents that opportunity, right? Now the funds don't always trade according to their NAV. We see that with QWI. We see that with the select funds. I can't remember the other fund. I don't remember if MJE also has a NAV, but the funds on the market don't always trade to their NAV, but that's normal, right? So the benefit of the conversion here is that you get to realize the NAV because funds will sell at fair value, right? That's the benefit of a fund. And so that's why the upside presented makes it very, very attractive for it. So Levine, I can't explain how the conversion will work because I haven't voted on it as yet, but I'm assuming it will be a one-to-one conversion, but I'll check the previous content I saw on it to see if something was proposed, but that I know is my expectation. I don't know if it's just me making that up or it would have been said somewhere, right? Jackie's asking if I'm going to have a session to discuss the Barita bonds. I am hoping to, but it depends on time, right? So my first stock to watch is this Sagicor Select MD. So I'll put that up on the screen while I'm waiting to find my next stock to watch. So give me a minute, let me find it here. So you notice I don't have any slides, unfortunately, because I'm just kind of trying to get through this. Well, it's limited time, so I apologize for that. All right. So my next stock to watch is coming with a disclaimer, right? And I apologize because I don't typically like to give disclaimers in this way. But one sec, let me find it here. All right. So my next stock to watch is the Jamaica Stock Exchange, right? And the Jamaica Stock Exchange, I think, is going to be interesting because the more activity that the market has, the more opportunities that come to market. Think about even the fees of the transaction from the Trans Jamaica offer, the Atlantic offer, the bonds that are being raised. So all of this market activity benefits the Jamaica Stock Exchange. It benefits both in terms of now. So when the offers are done, they get a fee or percentage of that goes to the JSE. That entity becomes now a listed entity that has to pay a fee to the JSE each year. They have different things that they need to do in terms of administrative costs that goes to the JSE. And also you have now shares going to individual investors that now have to pay a fee for every transaction that they do. All of these things bode well for the Jamaica Stock Exchange. They grew 3% last year. I'm thinking that they'll grow a lot more than 3%. I'm expecting maybe at least double-digit growth for the whole exchange for this year because I am expecting increased activity, especially as we go throughout the year because we're already seeing that increased activity and participation on the Trans Jamaica side with the offer at 22,000 investors went after it. I'm assuming at least 25% of that are new investors. So we have new accounts that are being opened. And so all of this activity, I think, will bode well for the Jamaica Stock Exchange. And so let's have a quick look at them, right? So it's saying here it didn't trade today, right? In the last 52 weeks, as high as $15.84, and it's now $13. So it was higher in the last year. They have 701 million units outstanding, and it's down year to date, right? Let's look at their most recent quarter. So this is for their third quarter. They did not release anything for this year. Well, let's look at the third quarter, or maybe is it their audited numbers? Let me check. Okay, so their audited statements, let's look at that, right? Okay, so I'm only interested, of course, in the P&L for now. So let me find that. All right, so look already for the year for 2024. No, look at this CES number here, right? CES 521 million, fee income 1.9 billion. I'm expecting this fee income to grow significantly this year. eCampus, that's their education segment, that did 34 million in 2024. That actually went down, right? So this segment is interesting for them because, as you see, as a total percentage of revenue, it's not a large amount, but I do think they have significant growth opportunities there. But of course, it's for them to realize it. Another operating income at 141 million. But you see the fee income, right? And that's why it's important. The more investors there are, it's important. The more trades, right? So the more offers, more activity, more trading benefits the JSE, right? Expenses are there broken out. So staff costs have gone up significantly. Property expenses have gone up. Depreciation is standard. Advertising and promotion being 192 million is very interesting to me to see. I would not think they spend so much on advertising and promotion. Securities commission fees, net impairment loss is 91 million. That's significant growth from the year before. eCampus is costing them 41 million and the income is 34 million. So it's a loss, right? So I really think that needs to be revamped in terms of the eCampus because they're losing 7 million a year on it, right? I'd love to see them partner with L.E.A.R.N Grow Invest. I think we can certainly help their education arm. So I made our proposal and send it to them. I'll think about it. All right. Investment income is relatively flat. Profit before taxation was 496 million. So they did better in terms of profit for the year last year, right? Let me see if they paid a dividend here. Paid 2 dividend last year of 33 cents. So let's calculate that yield. 33 cents, 0.34 divided by 12.99. That yield is 2.6%, right? So that dividend is not going to be on my radar. So this would be a cap gain interest for me. Now, the JSE used to be much higher. I remember when the JSE stock was trading as much as like $30-something. So it has found its way down significantly. So I do think that this will be a good year for them, good year for market activity, and so the opportunities are there for that one, right? So again, I'll see what questions you have. The second stock to watch is the JSE, and that's Jamaica Stock Exchange. All right. So Harold said the JSE selection is very interesting. Yeah. I think so I saw David Rose talking about it a while back, right? In one of the groups that I'm in. And so I've been looking at it from afar. And so it's moved up to my watch list now. So interesting for the Jamaica Stock Exchange, makes sense, increase activities. Yeah, so absolutely. So that's my second stock to watch. Let me see here if I have any comments from you guys. So I will ask you all to take a minute now to like the video. I have 2 more stocks to watch left. So I'm going to ask you to like the video. 159 persons here. I really appreciate it, you joining me live. Take a moment to like the video. I'll also ask you to take a minute to share the channel with a friend, with someone who you are encouraging to invest. You're not sure how to get started, how to understand the market, I think our channel is a great option for them. So thank you in advance for sharing it. So the third option that I wanted to share for now, and then I'll go through the review of my what you call it, previous stocks to watch to give you an update, right? And I saw some of you mention this company before, and that's actually Indus Pharma. So I was an Indus Pharma shareholder back in 2018, 2019. I wasn't a shareholder in 2020, so I haven't been a shareholder in a while. But I do remember when I just started, I was investing in this company for dividends. It gave me some pretty good cap gains as well. And the prices that it's at now was actually the price that I remember selling it at back in the day. So it's kind of, it did a dip certainly for the pandemic. So those who would have been holding say $2.25 in the last 52 weeks in terms of price, so it has seen a good spread for the year. Now a couple of things have gone in their favor. Now I do think that for them, a couple of things, right? So I think the upside for them, or the real growth for them, will come later on this year into next year, just based on some of the things that they've been working on. I do think, so they have 1.3 billion units outstanding, and this 35 million units that you're seeing here, this major transaction here was actually a director purchasing shares, which I thought was very interesting. So I'm going to show you guys what I shared in our challenge community group, and to let you see, of course, one of the benefits of being a part of our challenge community, right? So I shared this in the challenge community yesterday, right? And these are the reasons why Indus is a stock to watch for me. So the first is the directors. Can you see this, by the way? I think that's better. So the first was the director purchasing 35 million shares. Now, a director purchasing that many shares, I don't know if you can get more bullish than that in terms of signal to the market. Directors, of course, would know what's happening in the companies, no timeline, etc. So to purchase 35 million shares, I think is a good sign for the company. I looked at their report, and I'll look at it again shortly. Their Q1 is showing significant growth on last year. They announced a dividend recently. The yield is not attractive, and that's why they're not a dividend stock for me now. Then, of course, I had a recent article, and then, of course, I'm saying to the group that let's see how the year goes for them. Because for me, I'm thinking that most of the growth is going to be later on, especially in terms of their performance. So let me click on this and show you their Q1 here. Let me look at the top 10 first. Do they show their top 10? Okay. So they have 1.3 million shares outstanding. So the key shareholder here has 75% of the shares, and 91% is in the top 10. So I'd say about 100 million shares for the rest of the public. And so we have GK, Sunand, Palm Pool Equity. I wonder if this is, what's Palm? I don't know. I'll have to look into that. I don't remember. NCB Unit Trust Scheme is here. Barita Investment, Sagicor Select Fund, but of course, only 0.04%, which doesn't make sense. Sagicor Pooled Equity Fund, and then someone called Lloyd Vidal, right? So that's the top 10 shareholdings. 100 million shares are outside of the top 10. But let's look at these numbers here, and I'll show the summary. So for their 3 months ending January 1st, 2025, we saw 21% growth in revenue, 16% growth in gross profit. Net profit for the period is up 19%, right? So that's significant just for their Q1, and that's why I think, again, it's going to be a great year for them. I think they may realize probably their best profits ever for the whole year. And so it's going to be very interesting. From a dividend perspective, more profits, of course, means the ability to pay a better dividend. But of course, it's certainly being the narrative in terms of performing well means that there should be some upside in terms of capital gains for them. So we'll say that. But 300 million per quarter is a run rate of 325, 449, 766 times 4. That's 1.3, right? So they're looking to do at least 200 million more in revenue, and with their margin, I think being almost let's see what their margin was for last year. They did, let me calculate margin here. 221 divided by 1158. So that's almost a 20% margin. So if they do, let me do it short way. If they do the 1.3 and have a 20% margin, then they're looking to do 260 for the year, which is almost 40 million more on what they're doing here. This is assuming that all the quarters are 325. They may have some quarters that do a lot better than this based on some of the other things that I will share. So at the very least, they're looking at more net profit. More net profit means potentially higher dividends depending on what their debt position is or their cash position otherwise, right? So that I think is a great opportunity for them. Admin expenses have actually gone down, but they were 500 million for the year. For the quarter, profit from operations have gone up, and finance cost loan of 14 million, they paid 64 million for the year. So let me have a look at their balance sheet for their, so they do have a bond out, a 7% bond for 805 million. So they will need to clear down that debt. So it's now on the current liabilities. So I don't know if they'll be issuing shares to pay this debt. I'm not sure. I need to review that. Payables here of 56 million, short-term loans of 6 million. So some of their capital may go towards repaying or paying down that debt. So we may see that being paid down first before there's any dividend, but before there's any increased dividend, because I said they did announce a dividend already. So there is that for them. The last dividend that was announced was here, right? Dividend payment March 14th. So it's 13 cents per share. So 13 cents divided by, I think, 389. So that's a 3.4% dividend. Now that's based on current prices. Now, if it is that the dividend increases, then that yield would increase. So if the yield goes to maybe 5%, over 5%, then that's great upside for in terms of dividend income. And let me see if I'm missing anything else. Honestly, the notes on the debt, investments, trade receivables, related companies. I need to check some of these out. So of course, the Dolphin Cove situation certainly is making me look on any related or partner companies relating to the local one, because of course anything that happens with them will happen and will impact the local one in terms of at least perception. So the short-term loan is here. It says short-term 805 million. So I need to check as to their plan to clear down that debt, right? So I don't know if they're going to be issuing shares to clear the debt, or let me check. Did I check their cash balance on their balance sheet? Sorry for the scrolling, guys. So they have 275 million on their balance sheet. I mean, the truth is they could actually pay that down aggressively if they wanted to, but likely what companies are you going to preserve capital, and you likely do some form of issue to clear or pay down that debt. So we'll see. of course, what that looks like, right? So that's the third stock to watch. Third stock to watch. That's in this Pharma. All right, so let's see what you guys are saying about it as well. So if Indies pays dividends twice per year with the same 13 cents, that would be lovely. That would, if they pay 26 cents for the year now, or 27 cents for the year, then that would be a yield of 6%. Yeah, so that'd actually be amazing. Actually, 7% yield would put it higher than companies like Trans Jamaica actually. And because the shares aren't liquid, that's going to present an opportunity in terms of it'd be easier for the shares to grow if demand increases, right? So if they would announce another dividend, that would be a bullish sign for the stock again. And I believe it was an interim dividend, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, interim dividend, right? So they're likely to pay another one. And last year they only paid one. So since it's an interim here, they are planning to pay another. So that bodes well for them, of course. So there is some expected upside here. We saw where it actually went down March 20th. That was interesting to see, right? So 35 director, 9 million shares here, but we didn't see a notice come out about it. So that was probably from, let me see, what top 10, 35 million. So it probably would be maybe sold from buyer priced here. That's where the shares might have come from. Who knows? I'll wait to see what the next quarter looks like, right? So that would be my 3 stocks to watch. So let me recap them quickly for you since we're pretty much reaching the hour. So Sagicor Select MD, really the Sagicor funds in general. The conversion to unit trust provides, I think, a great opportunity for investors to realize some upside. Next would have been JSE with the increased market activity. Fee income should increase, cess income should increase. They are making a loss on their e-campus, but of course, I think maybe that's their commitment to education. But the more offers that come to the market and the larger offers bodes well for them, of course, in terms of revenue. And we'll be able to confirm that when we see their Q2 results, especially since the Trans Jamaica offer would have come in Q1, the Atlantic offer was in Q1, their bonds that are coming out and so on. So all of that is income for them as well. So I'm going to recap now since we're at the hour. I'm going to recap my stocks to watch that I mentioned in January, tell you which ones are off my watch list, which ones are still on it, so I can share the overall stock to watch. So I will say in a portfolio update, I have 3 stocks in my portfolio right now, right? I'm downsizing only because I want to have flexibility in liquidity in the short term, and I'm planning to rebuild my portfolio with the income that I'm expecting to get from some different channels that I'll build out some positions over the next few years. But I'm maintaining the flexibility now because I think this is going to be a year with a lot of offers on the market. Now there is a risk in that, meaning the positions that I exited, when I'm ready to go back to them, the prices may be higher. But that's a balance in terms of opportunity cost that I'm taking because I think that it's worth it. Meaning, if I'm spreading myself too thin, then I risk not getting the type of gains that I'm looking for. So for example, one of the things I did for all of my dividend stocks, I pretty much brought them into one stock that is going to give me a very attractive return. So instead of having 3 to 4 dividend stocks, I've consolidated to get a certain amount of volume to increase my income rather than having 4 dividend stocks and no meaningful position in either of them. I will say that for me, I'm looking to hold sizable positions for my dividends, and then pursue shorter term opportunities that can give me appreciation that will help me to be able to reinvest, right? So my capital gains go into different assets, and so that's kind of how I balance things out there, right? So since we're on the hour, I will pause again to talk about our conference. I think it's a great opportunity. Again, now there is a sale happening where if you purchase a regular ticket, you get a free upgrade to VIP. So I want to go to the VIP option here to show you what you'll get. So if you purchase a regular ticket, that's for $300, you get an upgrade to VIP. So with VIP, we have a VIP breakfast on the Saturday morning. You get a signed copy of a book from our keynote speakers called Cashing Out, and you get a VIP swag bag. There are some other perks for the VIP, of course, that I will not share here, but it's going to be worth it. And then, of course, you get access to the rest of the conference. So if you're interested in the VIP upgrade option, you can just purchase a regular ticket by 12 o'clock tonight, and you'll get a free upgrade to VIP. So it's like getting the VIP ticket at 40% off, right? It's only for the first 15. So right now we have maybe about 10 left because we had some purchases yesterday for VIP tickets. So just bear that in mind. All right. So it's a great opportunity. So once you hit buy now, you'll see it go to this page that says L.E.A.R.N Growing Base Limited, and it's our checkout that we have in terms of the conference site. And so you can take advantage of that. We do have a code in our community. So community members, the code was sent to your emails yesterday. Challenge community members, you get a special price as well that was sent to the community. So just look out to well, I don't think we're gonna have a better price in terms of offer for the conference. It is 2 weeks away, so now would be the time to get your tickets. We're going through the pitch competition submissions now, so this would have closed off, right? So the forum is not accepting responses. We're gonna have a cash prize and mentorship for those who win the pitch competition. Then, of course, we've been having more and more sponsors come on board. So let me take an opportunity to shout out our title sponsor, Bloomer Capital. David Mullings and his team, we've been working with them to prepare for the conference. David Mullings is no stranger to our platform. We did some of our earlier interviews with him. So they've come on board as title sponsors. We have Binge Island, who is helping us with our marketing. We have Signature Creed, that's actually by a good friend of ours, Kevin, that does different advisory services. Very good at what they do. You should reach out if you need any help. Daylight Publishers, this is Crystal Day. So if you're looking to, write a book, definitely speak with Daylight Publishers. The Jamaica Trade Board came on board as sponsors last year, and they stayed on board with us. Jesse's Gifts and Decor, they're helping us with the planning of the event. They're working on our tokens for attendees and so on. Jace Mary is our media partner that did coverage for us for 2023. His videos are awesome. Just look for Jace Mary on Instagram. You'll see some of his work. And Law Boss is one of our booth holders that you should be able to meet in person at the conference. And we have some other sponsors, so we do need to update this, yes. Mothers came on board as platinum sponsor. So all of our meals are going to be covered by the Mothers Food Group. I thought that was so amazing to see them come on board as sponsors. Sound it up. I met the CEO of this company in December. He's a viewer for our channel, so we're talking for a little bit. He shared interest in sponsoring the conference, so he's on board for our sound. So it's gonna sound good. We're gonna have internet coverage. We're gonna have great LED screens. It's gonna feel like an international conference with the kind of support we're getting from Sound It Up. CarryFlow is gonna be helping us with our backend system. So we have actually an app created for the conference. We'll have virtual booths for online attendees. So if you're watching this outside of Jamaica, you'll have a great conference experience as well, fully with the support of CarryFlow. Let me see if I'm missing anyone. Big Shots Photo Booth, good friend of mine who I did rev up with. I'm sure you've seen their content in terms of doing the photo booth. They have some great options to capture the moment. So we're looking forward to working with them. And Kadon, this is a community member, Kamai Gordon, which has a great business of providing, entertainment. And so he's been with us since the 2023 conference, and he's come on board again to provide you with entertainment during the downtimes like lunch and so on. Right. So there's still time to become a sponsor. So if you're watching and you're interested in being a partner, there's still time to reach out. There's still opportunities to partner, so you can email us and we'll talk about it. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this conference. Check out our speaker lineup. You may not know all of them, but trust me, we went through we always go for speakers that are able to provide real value. It is not a fluff conference. This is not something that we're gonna come and we're not gonna share with you the same thing that you can do a Google search or watch a YouTube video to find out. There's gonna be great, valuable, actionable things that you can do to grow your business or to grow your investment portfolio as well. There'll be some opportunities for that. And so just go through this and you will see just the great opportunity that is there. Right. So that's like a 5-minute break to talk about the conference. But do take advantage of the VIP upgrade. And trust me when I say you're gonna feel like a VIP if it is that you have a VIP ticket. And I'm just checking to see if I'm missing anything here. Okay. All right, so let me do a recap now for you of my other stocks to watch, right? So let me minimize that. So I'm going to do this part quickly. I'm just gonna share the stock to watch and share whether or not it's still on my watch list or not. All right. So I'm gonna go through this one very quickly. Since I'm gonna try and keep this video around 90 minutes. All right. So Mailpack was on my watch list before. Now, I think this video was done early January. No, I'm still waiting. So this is still on my watch list, and I'm still waiting to see, one, if MyCard Express would have met their goal, because a part of the acquisition agreement was for them to meet a certain target and for them to be issued additional shares. So I'm waiting to see what happens there. So this is certainly still on my watch list. At the time, this was how it traded. This was the dividends at the price. So I'm not focused on that because that's outdated information now. But I was watching them for the e-commerce growth, the market share that they're gonna take up, and we saw where Rocket Ship did an acquisition recently. So the space is certainly competitive, right? And their acquisition history makes me very optimistic as to their future growth, right? So they're still on the watch list for that reason. Dollar Financial was my second stock to watch, and it is still there because the price, I believe, has been trending down. So I'm waiting for what the Q1 report looks like, right? So you saw the slide, it was 296, and it's here now trading at 264, right? So that's down more than 10%. Let me see the year to date. 12.63% year to date. As far as we know, nothing has changed. Now, their competition, ISP, did do a major acquisition. I heard it was from Jay, and I think somebody sent me that note after I did the video on them. But for all we know, things are still positioned well for them to grow. So this Q1 is going to be very important for them. So Dollar Financial is still on my watch list, and I think I had Y. So expansion within Jamaica. So they've closed their Guyana operations, focusing on growth in Jamaica. Ultra Financier has been growing well. They do have strong competition, but I'm expecting that there will be consolidation. Now, to see the acquisition by ISP was a good sign for me, but I still don't understand why we're not seeing more of these type of things. Now, it may be happening, but not for listed companies, but at the very least, I think it would have seen more announcements about it. So I'm hoping that they can be able to complete some successful and attractive acquisition, right? So they're still on the watch list for that reason. The next was Image Plus, right? At the time, it was trading at $1.52. And Image Plus, from what I could see last, was trading almost, yeah, it's trading at 116, right? So this has fallen quite a bit from the start of the year. So when I did it, it was 152. It was about here because I did it at the start of the year, right around here. And it was 171 in December. So it's almost down 50% from their IPO price. And they're focusing on the launch of their new location. And of course, with the focus there, it's going to be now how soon they can finish, how soon they can start to realize the revenue. So during the phase where they're building that new location, setting it up, you will probably not see the same growth in profit. I mean, I'm not sure, but that's what I'm expecting, right? When companies are investing in growth, you may see that short-term shift because the expenses will be high, right? Same thing we saw for RPL while they were trying to complete the gas stations. Now they completed it, revenues were up and profits were up. I'm expecting the same thing here. So there's certainly still a stock to watch, especially based on the price, because there's more potential upside there. Now, I do think that 32% down year to date, right? So that is quite interesting to see. I do think that makes it quite attractive for especially companies looking to invest long term, right? And certainly based on the price, well, they don't necessarily have the cash to do a buyback or anything like that, but who knows? Depending on how things go for them, right? So that was, let me go to the why. So acquisitions, they did mention on our earnings call that there is something being discussed. I think that announcement should be expected for this year. Scan counts, I'm expecting to grow. I know I personally have been to Apex many times to do a lot of scans in the past couple of years. And so overall, I think as a country that is having an aging population, you're going to see more scans. They have a clear path to growth. They are positioning themselves for the future. And so that certainly remains. And now this 25% is now 45% discount to IPO price, right? Jamaica Broilers was my fourth stock to watch. Now, unfortunately for Jamaica Broilers, they have come off of my watch list, so this is no longer a stock to watch for me. I had strong operations in Jamaica, resilient and growing demand, and consistent dividend. Now, I think, I mean, depending on the price, let's see where they're trading right now. It's just maybe a timing thing for me, I would say. Jamaica Broilers. So I'll see. Because for me, it comes down to opportunity cost, right? So from the start of the year, it was at 41. It's down more than 10%. Well, it's saying 5% down year to date. So certainly the price would make it attractive. Let's see what the price was when I did this. It was at 36, so it's at 34 now. But for me, they've come off of my watch list, at least temporarily, because I think there are more attractive opportunities for me and more potential upside for me personally. But I still love the company. They're just not on the watch list right now. And then, of course, next one was Kingston Warfs, which at the time was trading at $31. Let's see where they're trading right now. So Kingston Warfs to me is still a great potential opportunity. It's $28 now, so it's down from I did the stock to watch. And I think they're making also investments in infrastructure, the services they'll be able to provide. I think they're great opportunities for them in the space. Let me go back to their have a recent expansion, and I think there's even more expansion to come based on what the Prime Minister showed. And they're focusing on efficiencies and are looking to do some upgrades. And I think with the uncertainty in the US, who knows, there may be some interesting opportunities for us. And so for us as a country. So let's see their most recent financials here. This was from November. So let's see if, where am I? See, I have too many tabs open. Where did I open that one from? Oh, let me see if their audited numbers are out. Okay. Going straight to the P&L, as you know, for stocks to watch. So I'm certainly expecting for revenues to grow. So it did grow by $1 billion here, which is more than 10% where it was last year. Of course, when you're at this size, the growth may not be as dramatic, but growth is still growth. Gross profit actually, the gross profit figure is down to 4.6 billion. Net profit for the year was down, right? But I do think that was because of the investments that they've been making. Because when you look at the admin expenses, they are about 140 million higher. Operating income was down, so I think they would have had some expenses, right? Their finance costs almost doubled, right? So that of course impacts profitability. But of course, the more they pay this down, the more profits you realize to the bottom line, right? But I do think it's going to be an attractive company long term if you have the patience, right? I do believe that the sort of infrastructure expansion that they're focusing on is critical for them as a company. And so I'm not a shareholder now, but certainly interested to see how they grow. And if I see an attractive price, then I'm certainly going to take advantage of that. Final one was Trans Jamaica. No, Trans Jamaica is not on my watch list anymore. I know some of you may be surprised to see that, but I think I have a pretty clear idea how the year will go for them based on the offer for sale, based on current price. It's no longer on my watch list because I think I have a clear path, right? So their dividends will be increasing this year. They paid 18 cents last year. They're already paying 12 cents this year. So if they pay another 12 cents, that'd be 24 cents. That's not a 50% increase in dividend, but close. I'm expecting the dividend to increase. I'm expecting the Williamsfield toll revenue to come at least for one quarter this year, but I'll see. The gas station should come on stream for them. They had their best year in terms of profitability last year. And of course, dividends, right? But let's close out by looking at just, so we started the show with TJH, we're gonna end it with them. But now the interesting thing for them and why I think it's off of my watch list, at least in the short term, is that it's pretty predictable, meaning there's more than enough awareness about the company now. I believe a lot of new shareholders sure interested, but I think we're going to be waiting till later on in the year to hear about the Williamsfield one. I do think that after the dividend is paid, there may be certainly a loss of interest by the short-term investors. So you may not hear anything about the company for a while, until of course they have their other dividend announcement later this year. And so outside of that, the most attractive thing for them would be the Williamsfield toll and that revenue. The dividend is going to come out, I think, predictably in October. And so for me, it doesn't need to be on my watch list because the path is clear, right? So Jamaica Broilers, Trans Jamaica, they're off of my watch list, but Mailpack, Dollar Financial, Image Plus, and Kingston Warfs are there. And I gave you the three that I had for this year, right? The Montego Bay bypass was them. I'm not sure, right? I wasn't sure. I heard about it, but I wasn't sure if it was them or not. Let me know. Let me see here. Let me go back to that question. So Naturally Candid with Shan. Naturally Candid, do you have a YouTube channel? That name sounds like it's a YouTube channel name. Naturally Candid with Shan. Let me know. I'm gonna search for your channel. Hopefully it's appropriate. Naturally Candid with Shan. Is that a YouTube name? Oh yeah, 4,000 subs. Let me see here. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna share Naturally Candid's channel here. So you do real estate and finance content. Okay, cool. So guys, give her some support and subscribe. 174 persons here. Share your channel link in the chat, Naturally Candid, and let's show her some support. So I'm gonna subscribe, and I think real estate content is gonna do pretty well. So give it time. Give your real estate content time, and it will do well. I haven't watched any of the videos, but I'll check it out. All right. So congrats on 4,000 subscribers. It took me a long time to get to 4,000, so I don't know how long you've been doing this. You started in 2014 and you have 4,000 subs within your first year. So I think that's pretty cool. 240,000 views. I just got to 600,000. So you're almost at half my number of views, and I've been doing this for 5 years. So guys, show her some support for her channel there. So the question was, how long do you watch a stock? I'm watching it typically until something that I'm expecting to take place takes place. So for example, let me give you an example. So for example, when Fontana was on my watch list in the past, I was waiting for the new location in Portmore. I was waiting for to see the growth in the company. I was waiting to see how they're positioning themselves long term. So I'm waiting for some event, some milestone. It could be a price movement as well. So I may be watching it until there's certain upside. So it really depends. Different stocks may require me to do different things, right? Sean is saying, I've been watching that bond for a while, really don't know how they're gonna pay it. I was surprised they paid a dividend this year. You're talking about indies? Let me know, Sean, if you're talking about indies. Indies usually does pay one dividend. Exactly. So that's why it's on the watch list. So I'm not a shareholder of indies, but I'm watching to see, I'm the type of investor where I've been through enough experiences with FOMO where I don't rush to buy anything. I think there's always a buying opportunity, because right now, all of the stocks that I'm watching, if an offer comes out tomorrow, all of them are going to go down in price, and so I'll have an opportunity to buy. So I'm not worried. We saw with the Trans Jamaica offer that a lot of stocks presented great buying opportunities. So I'm not worried. And I know some more big offers are coming out. So any stock on my watch list, I'll have more than enough time to buy. It would be quite interesting if Juicy Beef or Mother should host. No, they're not gonna list. They're not gonna list. Jermaine, were you going to release the KW CEO interview? Shells. Oh, when? We'll see. We'll see. Thank you, NB Lee. Remember to like the video, guys. 170 persons here. Hopefully I have at least 5 likes by now. You guys are being a little stingy with the likes, but I get it. I understand. The like is not free. 64 likes. Okay. All right. Thoughts on Amazon now shipping to Jamaica and its impact on Mailpack. I'm not worried about it. Not worried about it. I'll see how that develops, but I'm not worried about it. I think I mentioned that. I think they have first review. Okay, so they have to bid for it. Developed by NROC. That's good for them. Certainly, right? So, yeah, I think that's it. Any other questions, guys? Let me know. I was hoping to have a CEO join us tonight. I heard. So let me share this with you guys. I have a coaching client who works for a listed company, and he said he was discussing my video with a CEO, and I thought that was cool. I like the CEO is watching my channel and talking about a video that I did for a certain company. I won't say the company's name, but I do realize that there are some CEOs that watch our channel. I've heard it from multiple listed CEOs, and there was actually one CEO or one marketing person that asked me why I don't cover that company on our channel. And I said it's really dependent on the amount of information that I have and the amount of interest that you have, right? Because here's the truth. There's a balance between what I cover, what I'm interested in, and what you are interested in, right? So I try to kind of toe that line. I know once I'm doing a Trans Jamaica video, then everybody's here. Once I'm doing a Stocks to Watch video, then everybody's here. And because I have less time now, I'm looking to get the most bang for the content that I prepare, because the truth is I've been doing this for 5 years now. Some of my earlier videos that I would do are getting like 200 views, 300 views. Some of my best videos have 300 views, right? So I have to kind of manage that time now. Now the channel is doing really well in terms of revenue, in terms of YouTube now, and that's because of Trans Jamaica, right? So my dividends is coming in more than one way. We just passed the $2,000 mark in terms of revenues for YouTube, and that's pretty cool to see. So I set my payout for YouTube to be 500 US at a time. So I'm about to get another payout in the last 4 months of content, which is awesome. That's happy to see the growth. Exactly, Harold. So my dividends paying dividends. So I am being more strategic with the content, sure, but you've also seen that I'm covering more personal type content, and I'll tell you why, right? Because I think it's going to be important for you to see my journey as an investor. I'm going to be sharing more videos on that. And so the videos that we've been doing for the past couple of months. So at the start of the year, I did this one, the stocks to watch for the year. That has 5,400 views. That's awesome. In only 3 months, I did my dividend stocks to watch. I'll be doing this again at the 6-month mark. I don't have to do it every 3 months. I shared my 2025 portfolio. Now this one is going to be updated at the end of the year. I did do the video on West Indies Petroleum, and so all of these videos that you've been seeing me do is it's going to be more personal type content, because I realized that if I do a video on a company that's not in your portfolio, you're not going to watch the video, which is fair, right? So let me show you an example of what I mean. What was my last stock review? So I did this one, right? So I did, this was back when I was doing Market Money. I did something on Salada Foods, right? 177 views. Now the channel has grown a lot in the time, but I did the video, for example, on the Sagicor Select Funds becoming a unit trust 9 months ago, only 900 views. So it's something that I have to weigh, right? Because it takes a lot of time to do research, to do content. And if the ROI isn't there, then I have to balance that time, right? And so I am going to be doing more personal type content only because I see there's more interest in that, and I have fun talking about it too, right? So I'm going to be doing more videos, hopefully with Renee. But we are in an adjustment period now, so probably after that adjustment period ends and our conference ends, then she'll join me for another episode. But we got great great reviews from this episode. So but yeah, just thanks to everyone, really, is what I'm saying, for the growth in the channel and your interest and your support. Thanks to our community members who have been we're at 1900 members in our community now. So that's awesome. We launched the platform in November. If you're new to this channel, be certain to join our community. So I'm going to share that again. Let me reset here. So I'm going to share the community group again. So we do have a mobile app as well that you can join. So we have meetups once per month. This was the meetup for March. So you have access to the recordings. I think 91 persons joined this meetup. We have the challenge call coming up this Saturday. So for persons wanting to join the investment challenge, let me share that with you now. So the money investment challenge is $50 per month, or you can join for the whole year at $497. If you want one-on-one support, if you want me to help you kind of decide on how to invest, if you want to understand how stocks work, you can book a one-on-one consultation with me. If you want investment coaching, now my coaching clients, I may be speaking for them here, but they should be very happy right now, because a lot of the things we spoke about at the start of the year for their portfolio, they've already had some great opportunities there. So if you're interested in coaching, you can book. I think we have one more coaching slot. If I click on it, two. It says two here. So there are two coaching slots left. How do I go back? Can I go back? Okay, perfect. And then of course I do business coaching for those who are having like startups, or they want to help grow their business, whether digitally or get help with pricing, that kind of thing. I do business coaching as well. And then we have our community groups here. We have the challenge community, and as I mentioned, we're going to be building out a founders community. So there'll be a group dedicated to entrepreneurs. It will be a paid group, but if you sign up, if you have a conference ticket, you'll get, of course, free membership that way, right? So if you attend the conference, you get free access to the community for at least the first year, and then afterwards it'll be a paid membership similar to the community for the challenge. But this is where we'll talk about now private equity opportunities. Persons can maybe do pitches for their businesses. We'll have business meetups that we can have maybe once per quarter to share ideas or strategies to grow our businesses, etc. So I'll share more about this at the conference, but the founders group we're going to be building out. So if you're an entrepreneur or an investor looking for private equity opportunities, it's maybe something that we can discuss as a group and see if we can get some external help and grow our wealth through entrepreneurship. All right. So that is where I end for today. Let me see. Oh, see, NBL, the likes aren't really coming in, but it's okay. JCDC said, is it okay to trade daily? It's up to you. If you have the time, if you have the understanding, certainly. I mean, I had a season where I was trading almost daily. I don't do that anymore, but that's mainly because of how much capital I have and how I want to invest. So for example, there are certain stocks that if I can't get, for example, 250,000 units, 300,000, 400,000 units, I'm not going to be inclined to buy. And I'll tell you why, because each time I take cap gains or profits, I want that amount to be similar to my monthly salary. So I buy volume, enable to, when I sell and take profit, I want it to feel like I'm getting an additional paycheck, right? That's not for everybody. I'm not saying that you should do this, but of course that's what I do. So you can, but it's up to you. Carl says, appreciate all that you and Renee have done over the years. You've made a lot of us better investors. I wonder how many millionaires So I got a personal testimony of this. I was at an event. Somebody was standing beside me and he's like, Jermaine, I must say, I've made millions of dollars watching your channel. And I was shocked. I was like, what do you mean? So he was telling me about some of the things he's been doing. And just from things that I've shared, whether the stocks to watch or other videos or interviews we've done that have given him information to be able to invest. And so I know for certainly my coaching clients are able to say that they've been able to make money through the guidance that I've provided. And I will say this, I think I've said it enough now where I can share it here publicly that I am taking steps to become a financial advisor. It is something that I've been interested in for a while and I've been looking into. And so I am going to be pursuing that quite aggressively for this year. So I'm hoping by the end of 2025, I'll be a licensed financial advisor. And so that will change the content I'm able to do. That will change the work I'm able to do with clients. So I don't have to have a disclaimer for my videos anymore. And I'll be able to just provide better value to you, my audience. As a financial advisor, now it will change how I work with clients because I'm assuming there'll be increased demand for my services. And so we may focus just on the memberships to be able to provide better value to those. But at the very least, I'm hoping to be able to just build out what I'm able to do, right? Conrad says, my bad eye. There is a dark mode for the community, actually. Let me share my screen again. I'm trying to remember how to get there. But there is a dark mode. So change theme. See, you have a dark mode there, Conrad. So so there is that option. As I was saying, it's a pretty cool app that we use. It's a platform called Kajabi, and it's great. It allows us to it's the same platform that we're using to create our website as well. So it's been great. So you do have that option, Conrad. So I'm interested to hear your thoughts as I close off here. What type of content you'd want to see me do when I'm a financial advisor. Let me know, because I'm thinking about what I can do differently. I can certainly share my personal opinion on the offers that come out. I can certainly share whether or not a stock is a buy or not a buy. Those are the things I'm thinking about here. And I can certainly speak more openly on some of the offers that are on the market, of course. So those are some of the things I'm looking forward to, but you can let me know your thoughts as well. And if you're watching this on the replay, then, congrats for making it through the whole video. The mobile app works fine for me, Shells. It's the Kajabi Communities app. So it has a communities icon, but I don't know if you can see this, but this is the it's focused on me, but it works. I'm on the mobile app. So the mobile app works. All right, everyone. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for liking the video. Thank you to our new subscribers. Thank you to our new community members. For everyone else, I will see you at the conference in 2 weeks. Take advantage of the discount. 1 hour to go to get the VIP upgrade. And yeah, I'll see you in the Challenge monthly call on Saturday. So Challenge community members, see you on Saturday. We have a lot to discuss. If you're interested in joining the monthly investment challenge, it's $50 a month. The link is in the description of this video. You can sign up. You can sign up for on a month-to-month basis, or you can sign up for the whole year. Either option is fine. When you sign up for the year, though, you get 20% off. And so yeah. So Shells, message me because it works fine. So let me know what app you're using. Message me on the platform and I'll try to help. But we had an issue with it in the past because there was some URL issue, but that was resolved from early January. Thanks, Loveen. We are just taking it one step at a time. All right, everyone, take care.
Learning is the key to successful investing, and who doesn't want to invest in some way?
Here at L.E.A.R.N Grow Invest, we focus on financial education, all with the aim of sharing our knowledge on personal finance, investing, and building wealth. We do this on the foundation of our faith in God.
If a more holistic approach is what you need, check out our Grow Faith-based financial coaching program.
Find out more about us at learngrowinvestclub.com
and follow us on all social media platforms at L.E.A.R.N Grow Invest.